Greetings, this is a test recording for NATO 61 play. NATO 61, a game by Micro Design Group, Gary Anderson, made in 2018. Basically simulates World War III in Europe in 1961. So, we're currently on turn 3. The Soviets have already done their turn. And basically, to summarize, this was a bolt from the blue, bolt from the barracks. No pre-war spin-up. The game does allow that. But in this case, the war just started, and everybody left from their barracks. And we can see here, actually, turn 3, finally Berlin fell. You see the large amount of Warsaw Pact forces here that were used to finally complete that. Tied up a lot of forces. Up in the north, mainly screen, the West Germans are pretty strong here in Hanover. We've got some Polish troops moving up to help out. Moving down a little, there is a big battle with the British for Hanover. Well, let's do the hide here. Yeah, for Hanover. They actually had this big attack this turn in turn 3, but it was repulsed. Here's their thin supply line coming in. Looks like the Belgians are coming up. Moving in the central sector, this is relatively stagnant. Strong West German forces protecting this area in front of the forest here. Then coming down here into this built-up area. Let's see, the only real activity is down here where Russian armor further south is basically in turn 3 broken through here and are threatening Mannheim and Stuttgart. But there are forces available. Yep, French forces here. And we've got the 82nd in Frankfurt, and I think the 101st is arriving this turn. So they should be able to stop up the whole. Nuremberg, first turn Russian paratroopers took Nuremberg. Since then, the Americans have been fighting with them in the streets, trying to kick them out unsuccessfully. Here the French are coming up to aid. And then down here, the Czechs are driving on southern Germany or Munich. Here they're just trying to seep through the lines, but here they're trying to swing through and do a breakthrough. But once again, the French are coming up to defend the area. So let's go ahead and move on with the start of the turn here. So some charts we have. We have the sequence of play. So we've already gone through the Warsaw Pact phase. Player turn. Now it's NATO player turn, and the first thing we do is the air phase, where basically each player rolls 1d6, and that's how many air points they get to use for multiple things to assist in combat, interdict supplies. The NATO player can do deep interdiction, where they try and slow down reinforcements that are coming, and then the other side can counteract that with any air points they have. So obviously the Warsaw Pact used up all their air points in their attacks during turn 3, and actually the NATO ones that were saved were used to counteract them. So we're going to roll 1d6 and see how many NATO gets. 1. Okay. Well, that's not very helpful, but I'll go ahead and give them their 1. And let's rotate it. Okay, so that indicates they've got 1 air point. I have to think about that. The next thing after that is, after we've done that, we roll 1 die for air points. Now we go to the reinforcement phase. Okay, and a number of things happen here. First thing here is we collect any reinforcements. We'll look at the turn track in a second, but NATO player rolls 1 die for the number of intensive attack supply and assigns them to headquarters unit. So let's see what an intensive attack is here. So you can see here's the combat results table, and the results are anywhere from -1 to 12, and it's because terrain effects are mainly effects on the die roll modifier, -1 or -2. So a normal attack you'd get a result of 1 to 6 plus any DRMs. But you're allowed for headquarters to do intensive attacks where you roll 2 dice, and you can see as you go above 6, the results are more friendly to the attacker. So a lot of times, like in turn 3, the Russians did an intensive attack with this headquarters, which supported the attack on Berlin. They could roll 2 dice. And then over here, the Russians also used their second intensive attack with, I forgot, maybe this headquarters, or one within 5 hexes of all the attacking units, and they could roll 2 die here. But unfortunately, they failed here. So that's the effect. So now the NATO player can roll to see how many intensive attacks he gets. And unfortunately, I don't have that chart made, so let's test out the pause feature here in recording. Okay, that's how the pause works. Let's pause it again. Okay, here's the intensive supply table. And basically what it's saying is, this game, there is a pre-war period. So it starts out with incidents, and this is, you roll a die, and this is how many intensive attacks are available for the player. So during an incident, NATO player would roll a 1 to 6. They can maybe get 1. If they get lucky and roll a 1, they get 2. There's a limited war period where NATO can, for example, attempt to relieve Berlin from another blockade. Air war is going on too. So you see then the number of intensive attacks starts to ramp up. We're in general war, so when the NATO player rolls 1 to 6, these are the possible results for intensive attacks. And then over here for the Warsaw Pact, you see it's pretty much 1 or 2 gives them 3, 3 or 4 gives them 2, 5 or 6 gives them 1 for the turn. So let's go ahead and move this stuff around. And I'll add this to the Vassal module later. Roll a die. It's going to disappear. NATO rolls a 5. So 5 general war, 2. 2 intensive attacks are available. So move that off to the side. So if NATO was going to attack anywhere, and the point is I can designate some headquarters with that. They don't necessarily have to use it. So what I need to do is look for opportunities to attack the Warsaw Pact, and then pick a headquarters within attack supply range, which is 5 hexes, that would provide the supplies. I'll do 7 core. There may be an opportunity here, and this means it's got intensive supply capable. So potentially I could do something here against these Russian armor spearheads. Because Zocs are not locking, I could slip behind them and do an attack with them surrounded. Once again, too, if you retreat in a Zoc, you're not necessarily eliminated, you lose a step. So that's how you compensate that. We may see that later. I could use a French maybe, and I'm already behind this one. I could get a good attack here. So we'll see. We'll do that one headquarters, and there's a lot of troops here. So I don't, that could be a target there. Although we got hordes of Russians coming anyhow, and he's in a forest, so I don't know how helpful that would be, but 4-6, not very much firepower. Let's do him. All right, so we've done that portion of the turn. We've designated our 2. Okay, so we did our assigns them to headquarters unit. We're not M+7, so I don't get the National Guards. And Algeria, we're not. This scenario doesn't last that long. So if I look at the turn record track, what do I get this turn? I get some French units and 101st Airborne, which can fly into Frankfurt here. So let's go get the 101st. think it's this one. There they are. All right. So the 82nd and the 101st are ready to deploy. They could do an airdrop, which I'm not going to do, but they could, like the Russians did into Nuremberg here earlier. We also get the French. Good, I've got it done like this. So on this turn, they get the 13 and 15. They get this guy and 3. Now they get the 11th Division, and they get the 13, 15 minus this guy. Basically, the French have two choices. They can come in on the edge of the board with the French, or they can rail, so to speak, to any urban hex. So if I look, where would I want the French to go? They could rail for here, or they could rail for here. I think probably need to go here. So let's get this guy. And let's just do this guy here to make it simple. Actually, yeah, let's do him over here. There we go. All right, so we have done that. Let's see. So we've got all our reinforcements. Oh, the Russians, as you can see, get lots more reinforcements. And now with Berlin freed up, this could get ugly. So we'll move on. Oops, not that. Charts. Let's go to the sequence of play. Okay, now the NATO player may move his forces. So what are we going to do? This armor unit looks free. This guy is going to end up attacking across a river to hold this. But we can bring the rest in here. Not sure how much we can get. And we've got an air point, so we can probably shift the odds 1 with that. The Russians have none. Oh, but they have an anti-aircraft unit near this guy. So I'd have to use 2 air points to get a shift of 1 column. So that's not going to work. My air points are useless around Russian anti-aircraft. Well, this one seems to be the one I'd like to attack. So let's put him here. And him here. 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, cost 2 for forest. 3, 4, 5. So I could put him in the attack. What have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be hard for them to go anywhere. One, two, three, 4, 5. Well, let's use those new French guys. I gotta get rid of that movement trail. There we go. All right. These units have to stay in urban. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get that guy up. That covers supply. Let's move this guy back just a little. All right. Let's see. This is the danger. They keep swinging around. So I need to, at this point, this is probably not a good place to be. That's just an urban hex, so I can get out of there okay. Zocs are not binding, so I can move from one Zoc to another. Question is, which side? Probably this side. Let's pick there. So he falls back. At this point, should I just abandon retaking Nuremberg? Probably. Which, of course, frees up these guys to pull out. He needs to get out of this situation. Okay. I need to protect this flank, and the only units I have are these guys, unless I pull him back. These guys can seep around zones of control, so I found you got to be careful where you put them. So let's pull him back here. So these guys will be stuck there. Nobody can get between them. This is a problem. We're playing with the edge of the map here. This 2-7 is just by himself is asking for an overrun. It's just I have no reserves here. How should I defend this flank? Now, if I go there, he can still try and slip around me. And if I stay here, these guys can slip by here. So there is some advantage to dropping back here. Let's put him here. And let's let him there, screen the flank. And we'll keep this guy here. Should these guys pull out of, yeah, just, this is a dense urban, this is a regular urban. Dense urban, it's hard to kick people out. They can ignore a DR result. Also, dense urban is what the victory points for the game are calculated on. So giving these up is not good, but that's why the paratroopers drop there. And at this point, since this isn't dense urban, that's not necessarily a critical hex. So I can extricate these guys too and form a solid line at this point. Let's move him here and him here. Okay. And let's see, supply is pretty much measured off headquarters. As far as I can tell from the rules, it's not necessarily tied to what nationality you are, but by the same token, put him here and him here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 good coverage of headquarters. So at least for the initial onslaught, it looks like the south is, well, except for the loss of Nuremberg, it's kind of holding. These guys are special West German units. They have to stay in urban hexes. He's staying here. I've got an attack here. He has to stay. Okay, so this guy's exposed. Should I try and carve him off? I don't know. Let's see. Okay, that'll hold. Nobody's messing with that. This will hold. I have an intensive hack here. Maybe I can get away with. That headquarters is threatened. This guy can go 1, 2. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4. They'd still be an attack supply. Headquarters by themselves defend with 1. If it wasn't for the zone of control, I could try and overrun, but I can't. Or I could go after this guy. But even if I take this headquarters will keep him in supply, and here comes Russian armor. So maybe in my best interest is to take this forest, kill this guy as an anchor. Let's look at the charts. Terrain effects chart. Forest, rough clear. Oh, it's called rough, whatever. Shift column 1 to the left. Let's see. Okay, the good news is there are no Russian, the nearest Russian anti-aircraft is 2 hexes away, so we can't cover this guy, so I can utilize my intensive attack and my air power to compensate. So this is where where they're going to attack. So the question is, how much power do I have to get there? Let's see. There is some advantage to going here. And I've just got to cover his flank. Let's move him here. Him here. All right, all these guys can attack too. That's 6, 10, 22 to 3. That's already 7 to 1. Air power cancels out the shift. 7. Yep, cancel. So it's a flat 7 to 1. You just need to get a little higher. Okay, that'll do it. Okay, so covering. UK headquarters is good. Netherlands will move to Bremen. All right, what am I going to do here? This is a nice unit. But if I go here, he's just going to seep through. So he's just going to seep through anyhow. So this may not be a good place for this guy. Let's move him up here. Wow. It's a bit thin, and these guys are kind of scary. If I move him here, this guy can get around me, and this guy, and they could pin me. So I don't like that. Yep. Yeah, normally I'd want to move him up here, but the danger is this guy can go here, one of these guys can come down here, and they can do a surrounded attack and at least reduce me on a retreat. So then they can do that to this guy. They can get on both sides of him. So the question is, should he fall back? Then they can get on both sides of this guy. Okay. What can the airborne do to help me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. Protect the flank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Protect the flank. Protect the flank. He's in rough. I think we're good. Well, not the most efficient use of airborne, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not going to get around him. 1, 2, crossing the river. 3, 4, 5. Okay. There's a hole, but we're backed off. We're okay there. Yep. I think that's everybody. He's good where he's at. 1, 2, 3, 4. So all these guys are in attack supply. Let's see. Attacking across a river, half attack strength. Too bad. So this guy provides 4, 11, 17, 22. 3 to 1. That's a risky one. But if I get it to 20, actually what I can do is pull this guy back. That makes it 26, 4 to 1. What does 4 to 1 look like? Probably not very good. No. That looks okay. So let's get him behind the river. And now I can use his full attack strength. 15, 19, 21, 26, 4 to 1. Oh, but then he's not. Wow. 1, 2, 3. Wow, sacrificial airborne. Instead of moving him here, let's move him here. Yeah, in a competitive game I couldn't do that, but I'm just playing against myself. Okay, that maintains the surrounding Zox. And so if he retreats, he does get a reduce. All right, I think that's everything. So moving into the sequence. Yeah, no overruns. Combat, let's see if I can do this without messing up. So we got our big attack here. So the question is, do I really need the air point? 12, 16, 20, 26 to 3 is 8 to 1. 26 to 3 is 8. 9 times 3 is 27. So I got 8 to 1. Let's look at the chart. Between 8 to 1 and 6 to 1. And I'm rolling 2 dice. So I come in at the 2. I could save the air point to counteract some of their air points next turn, or I could use it here. The only difference in the lowest I can roll is a 2, so the worst case is I get a PX. Both sides suffer 1 stop. That's kind of a letdown. The dice have been going low. I don't really like PX. Yeah, well, I'll use the air point. Probably a wrong choice, but so I'll just, well, I mean, just for symbology, I'll put it here. Then I'll delete it when it's done. So that is an 8 to 1. And I'm rolling 2 dice. So here we go. 4. Definitely rolling low. Wow. That was a good choice. DR. Well, he only had 1 step. So who knows. All right. So what I do is delete that. He goes to destroyed. See, he used to be a 6A, but now he's lost his last step. And I can advance after combat. So who do I want to put here? Well, this guy can't. You know, I could. See, they could get all the way around him. So I'm going to pull him back. And what the heck, put him back. So now, strong flank. Okay, we've protected the flank, one of the flanks of Hanover. Problem is this group coming through, but Anyway, he's expended his intensive attack. Let's come down here. This guy only adds 1. I'm going to round down, but let's see what we got. 5, 11, 19, 26, 27. We're not going to get to 30, so we're going to get a 4 to 1. 4 to 1, and if he retreats, he loses a step. But we're rolling 2 dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody's within attack supply, so 4 to 1 on. That's better. 9. Yeah, let's hide. Let's make sure. Yeah, he's in clear terrain. Okay, that should have destroyed him. DR. What a letdown. Retreat 1 hex. So he can retreat here, or he can retreat there. Russian stacking limit is 3. NATO is 2. Where would I want to put him? Well, let's flip them. Actually, put them there. And now we got advance after combat. This guy's exposed. Move him. And him. And that keeps him flexible for next turn. All right. That's the end of the NATO combat phase. Oh. Flip. Okay, let's look at charts again. Sequence of play. Combat phase. Did that. Okay, I haven't been nuclear, radiation, automatic victory, refugees is pre-war. So none of that applies. So that is the end of turn 3. All right, so we're at the end of turn 3. Situation, Berlin has fallen. Hanover is being defended. The north is solid right now. And it's interesting mix up here. And we'll see what the Czechs can do. And the Russians are going to get the Warsaw Pact. Got a lot of Polish reinforcements coming. And more Czechs. So we'll see how that goes. And scenario ends here. So the Russians have their work cut out for them. So at this point, I'm going to stop the recording and see how it sounds.